Dalla rivendita udile ritorniamo alla distribuzione che più conosciamo, cioè quella di cui abbiamo trattato all'inizio, quindi il DIY Superstore, però con una declinazione più internazionale. Per fare questo ho invitato Rainer Strnad, il nostro caporedattore della rivista DIY International, che invito a salire sul palco.
Grazie.
You're welcome. Prego.
Buongiorno, and sorry for continuing in English because I do not really speak the most beautiful language of the world. So I need the...
Here it is.
Yeah. Thanks for having you with me today. My name is Rainer Strnad, as Julia always mentioned. Why did she invited me? I'm managing editor of two magazines, a magazine DIY Fachmagazin, which is the most important magazine concerning the home improvement and DIY industry in Germany and in Austria and Switzerland. And as well, we are publishing a magazine called DIY International. We are publishing it now just as an online service. And that means that there is a long-lasting expertise of figures of the home improvement market in Germany and worldwide. And that also means that there will be a new product this year. We are cooperating together with EDRA-GIN, the Worldwide Association of the Home Improvement Stores, and I will present you some first figures from this study. These are my three topics I would like to talk to you today. First of all, we will talk about some figures from the European and worldwide home improvement DIY and garden market. Then we will have a short look on the latest news and on the current situation in the global market. And my third part of the presentation will show you some new concepts and formats in this market. So let's come to the figures. The figures for the top 10 DIY retailers worldwide I brought. You can see, of course, the market leader worldwide is Home Depot in the US with nearly 50,000 billion euros last year. It's followed by Lowe's. And at the red line, you see the change rates. So it gives you an idea what happened last year. And there's one big exception, which is Kingfisher. But you have to have in mind that these minus 50% mean minus converted to euros. When it's in the local measured in the local currency, they are nearly stable for their turnover. So we saw Home Depot and Lowe's at the top of the list, and there as well you have to have in mind that we had a high inflation rate last year and this year as well. Everything is about inflation when it comes to the home improvement market. In the US we had an inflation rate of 8%. In Canada, for example, nearly 7%. Yeah. The third biggest company is the Groupe Adeo, the French company with LORNALA, you know as well. They had one of the strongest growth rates last year with nearly 50%. Yeah, and the last one on the list is Canadian Tire with around 7 billion euros converted in euros. What about the European market? Adeo, as I just said, Adeo really increased in a quite impressive way their sales last year. Kingfisher is more or less stable with minus 0.9%. And Obi, number 3 in the European market, coming from Germany, is also more or less stable. concerning Obi, you have to have in mind that they lost their stores in Russia. They had 27 stores in Russia. LORNALA, they also have stores in Russia, but some weeks ago they communicated that they will leave the control of these stores. So these are the figures. The sales figures of the top 10 DIY retailers in Europe. Ahead, of course, is Groupe Adeo with nearly 30 billion sales. On the second place, we see Kingfisher, nearly 14 billion euros. Then we have Obi from Germany, Bauhaus Hornbach as well from Germany, Stark Group and Les Mousquetaires from France, Car Group from Finland, Hagebau, the retail section of the retail segment of Hagebau from Germany, and Rewe at the end, also from Germany, with round about 2.7 billion euros. The inflation rate in Europe, in the European Union, was at more than 9% last year. You have also to compare the growth rates with inflation rates of the countries. These are the accumulated sales of the top 10 retailers worldwide from 2011 to 2022. And as you can see, we had, of course, this great peak in 2020 with more than 10% of growth. And last year we just had 5.4% for the top 10. But this means that from 2011 to 2020, we had more than 60% growth, and the average growth rate from in the same period was nearly 5%. Let's come to the second topic of this short presentation. A short look on the latest news and current topics in Europe. So, as I already mentioned, of course, Russia and its war against Ukraine has brought big problems. Not only, of course, the human problem is the biggest one, but of course also for the market. So, Obi had 27 stores. LORNALA, or Groupe Adeo, had more than 100 stores there. In Germany, there's also some changes. We used to have for decades one market leader, which used to be Obi, and for the German market, not only for the European, for the German market. And now we have two. It's Obi and Bauhaus. Bauhaus caught up with Obi. In Austria, we had a growth of more than 4% last year. In Switzerland, we had a decrease always compared to the year before, to 2021. In France, this is not really the retail figure, but it's the figure the manufacturers communicated to describe the sales from the manufacturers to the retail channel. In Italy, GfK, we just heard more details from that. We had a growth. In Spain, also the manufacturers increased their sales to the retail channel. What about America? Growth rates of Home Depot and Lowe's are below the inflation. Lowe's finished its activities in Canada. And I would like to draw your attention to the Southeast Asian region, being quite a dynamic market. For example, the Mr. Dai group from Malaysia, they are active not only in Malaysia but in 9 other countries. They have nearly 1,000 stores in Malaysia, more than 500 stores in Thailand, around 500 in Indonesia, more than 300 in the Philippines, 100 in India, and now, as 2 years ago, they came nearer to Europe, because they have nearly 40 stores in Turkey and 16 in Spain already, and together with 12 in Singapore, 9 in Brunei, and 4 in Cambodia. The same dynamism with Home Pro in Thailand and in Malaysia, and they have more. Home Pro wants to expand to the Philippines. They want to go to Vietnam and Singapore. Global House, another player from Thailand, eyes to expand as well. And Ace Indonesia has more than 200 stores and plans to 10 to 15 new stores in this year, year 23. What is the industry debating about? Of course, there are the purchasing strategies of retailers. You know, all these discussions, reliability, logistics. What about China? Will there be more reshoring projects, bring back the manufacturing process nearer to Europe or to Europe? We saw that Kingfisher and Monsieur Bricolage forged purchasing joint venture. You all know the discussions about e-commerce, omnichannel, how to organize connected retail. What about the target groups, baby boomers, the Gen X and millennials, and the target groups of professionals? We already heard about these professionals, that they are getting more and more important for your business. But the big question is, where does the money go? The consumer spendings, who are the real competitors of the home improvement and DIY retailers? It's not only the next retailer, it's perhaps IKEA, it's perhaps the travel industry, and it's perhaps restaurants, the gastronomic industry. So it's all about consumer confidence, and it's all about the great uncertainty in these times. So my third section of my presentation is about some new formats, and I would like to start with Mr. DIY from Malaysia. I just talked about it, and now they are in Spain. It's an expansion coming from outside to Europe, and perhaps it's also a concept from outside Europe, because it's not really a home improvement store. They have only round about 1,000 square meters per store, round about 18,000 SKUs. It's not really a store as you know it as a DIY store. It's described as a bazaar. You get a lot of products from the household assortment, and a lot of private label products. Just the opposite is a concept called Let's Do It from Austria, from the 3E company. It's a cooperative. They are specializing in the tool market and combine it with a very intelligent digitization strategy. Their stores are about from 500 to 2,000 square meters. They store around about 7,000 SKUs, but there are 30,000 articles available. And the really interesting thing is what you see on your left side. It's a compare zone. You can put a product on this table, and you get informed by the screen about the technical details, and as well about the possible other products, alternative products. So it's like online shopping, but in a store. And what is quite interesting is that there's another impact of this strategy of digitization, because they get new, younger people who would like to work with them, because this digital appearance is very attractive, for younger personnel. We already talked about LORNALA. There's one, I think, exceptional format which is called LORNALA Madeleine. Madeleine because it's in the middle of Paris, in the Madeleine quarter. And when they opened it, the French press was quite, they doubted whether it would work or not, because it's really a very chic quartier. But LORNALA, they went there where their customers are, and they offered the solutions which fit really to this ambience. So, for example, the most spectacular detail is that they rebuilt apartments from the surroundings of the stores in the typical style that you can find in Paris. And for example, they give you an idea. These are 52 square meters, and you can put these products there. So they give you a whole solution. Another interesting format is LORNALA. It's a little store in Spain. It's just a showroom with customization and specialization. You get advice. You can, with a problem you would like to fulfill a project concerning ceilings or walls, and you get a complete solution from them. So they just need 100 square meters. By the way, that does not mean that all these products really work. LORNALA, they had also a project called L'Appart in the Batignolles in Paris, and they stopped it. So, but they try to find out which format fits to which kind of customers. The big competitor of LORNALA is Castorama in France, belonging to the Kingfisher Group from the UK, and they also felt or feel the need to build up smaller and more localized stores. That's what they do in the UK as well. So, for example, this Casto store, the first one was opened in 2020 in Lille, just had 380 square meters, and they store just 4,200 SKUs. A very interesting example is coming from the north, from Denmark, in the inner city. Sylvan opened, in inner city of Copenhagen, Sylvan opened an inner city location. And the question was, is it really profitable? And it is. They just took 15 days to run it with a profit. So it proves you can do it, but you have to fit your concepts to the inner city conditions. This is how it looks like. It's really in downtown of Copenhagen. And having said this does not mean that the big box is dead. Of course not. Big box is still alive. And I bring an example from Germany, Hornbach. This is very spectacular because it's a Hornbach store built up in a former hall of the fairground of the city of Leipzig. And it's a historical building. It's around about 100 years old, and Hornbach was forced to respect, for example, the facade, architectural details. But they tried to find out and to find an interesting and very impressive way to revitalize this old building with their Hornbach. And inside, of course, you have all the offer of a normal Hornbach store, the offer of when it comes to products, the offer when it comes to services. And of course, they also brought their drive-in to Leipzig, which is one of the specialty of Hornbach. And they, as every store do, they also have a photovoltaic on the roof. And they're very proud of it. So, to sum it up, this means I think physical stores still matter. That's what Thierry Garnier, CEO of Kingfisher, says. Of course, there's a mega trend of small stores, but the store portfolio has always a natural link with the online operators. Or John Herbert from Edra Gin, he doesn't stop to say, I love stores. Or Franz-Peter Tipas is a board member from OBI. You can no longer do without online, but without stores, nothing works either. So thanks a lot for your attention. Don't forget to subscribe to our online service, diyinternational.com, which is for free, and enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks a lot.